The second I pressed post on my Instagram story declaring, "I'm gay, and I'm done hiding it," my phone started buzzing nonstop. Little did I know that the next call from my mom would shatter my world in a way I never saw coming. "Seth, Ryan just posted his engagement to your brother Gabriel." I stared at the screen, the Chicago skyline blurring outside my apartment window. 29 years old, graphic designer by day, secret keeper by night, that had been me. Growing up in a tight-knit Midwest family that moved to the city when we were teens, Gabriel and I had always been the Thompson twins, identical down to the freckle on our left ears. But while I buried my truth under deadlines and polite smiles, Gabriel chased acting dreams in New York and apparently found something else entirely. Ryan Miller, my Ryan, the guy I'd loved in secret through college, the one who begged me to come out with him 5 years ago before I panicked and ended us, was now posting photos of him and Gabriel kissing under string lights at some rooftop party. The caption read, "Forever starts now." My hands shook as I dialed Gabriel. Voicemail. I called Ryan next. He picked up on the second ring, voice calm like we were still friends catching up. "Seth, I didn't know how to tell you. Gabriel and I, it just happened. We met at an industry mixer 2 years ago. He didn't even know about us at first. 2 years. While I was still replaying our last fight in my head, they had built a life." I hung up without answering, chest tight. Mom kept calling. Dad texted, "Son, we need to talk." The notifications kept coming. Cousins, old classmates, everyone suddenly aware that Seth Thompson was gay. But the only thing that mattered was the photo of my exact face smiling back at me from Ryan's post. Except it was Gabriel's smile. Gabriel's arm around the man I once thought was mine. I booked a flight to New York for the next morning. I had to see it for myself. The plane touched down at LaGuardia under gray skies that matched my mood. New York felt too loud, too alive for the numbness settling in my bones. Gabriel met me at the airport in a black coat that made us look like mirror images. Same height, same jawline, same nervous habit of rubbing the back of our necks. Only his hair was a little longer, styled for auditions. He hugged me like nothing had changed. "Seth, I swear I had no idea you two were serious back then." Ryan said it was casual. We took the subway to their Brooklyn apartment. Ryan opened the door, eyes widening when he saw me. The three of us stood in the narrow hallway, 2 of us identical, 1 of us the bridge between past and present. Ryan tried to explain over coffee that turned cold. "When I met Gabriel, he looked so much like you it scared me at first. But he's different, outgoing, fearless. He made me believe I could have the life I wanted." Each word landed like a stone in my stomach. I had chosen fear. Gabriel had chosen truth. And somehow Ryan had chosen the version of me that wasn't afraid. That night I crashed on their couch, listening to their quiet laughter from the bedroom. Sleep never came. Instead, memories flooded back. Stolen kisses in Ryan's dorm, whispered promises under stadium lights, the night I told him, "I can't do this publicly," and watched his face break. Now he was marrying the man who shared my DNA. By morning I knew I couldn't stay. I left a note and caught the first train to Manhattan, needing space to breathe. The next weeks blurred into meetings with old college friends who suddenly wanted to support me. Emma, my best friend from design school, flew in from Chicago and dragged me to a quiet bar in the village. "Seth, you're allowed to be angry. This isn't just about Ryan. It's about Gabriel stealing your moment." But anger felt too simple. What hurt more was the mirror. Every time I caught my reflection, I wondered if Ryan had loved the face or the person behind it. Gabriel called every day. We met at Central Park on a crisp fall afternoon, leaves crunching under our identical sneakers. "I'm gay too," he admitted quietly, the words hanging between us like a confession he'd never needed to make to anyone else. "I figured it out after college. Ryan helped me accept it. But I never meant to hurt you." For the first time since the announcement, I saw the fear in his eyes, the same fear I'd carried for years. We talked for hours about Mom's worried texts, Dad's awkward silences, the way our conservative relatives back in Illinois were suddenly posting Bible verses. When we hugged goodbye, It felt like the first honest one in decades. Still, the engagement party loomed. I RSVP'd yes. I needed to stand in that room and prove I could survive watching my past kiss my future. The party was in a rooftop venue overlooking the Hudson. Fairy lights everywhere. I wore a navy suit that matched the one Gabriel had chosen, twins even now. Ryan spotted me first, pulling me into a careful hug. You came. That means everything. Gabriel joined us, and for a moment the three of us stood together like old friends. Cameras flashed. Toasts were made. I smiled through every speech, but inside I was unraveling. Later, on the quiet edge of the roof, Jordan Hayes found me. We'd met earlier that week through Emma. Jordan was a writer who volunteered at the same LGBTQ center. Tall, kind-eyed, with a laugh that didn't carry expectations. You look like you need fresh air and zero questions, he said, handing me a bottle of water. We talked about everything except the party. Favorite books, worst client stories, the way Chicago winters made you miss the sun. For the first time in months, I laughed without forcing it. When he asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime, I said yes before doubt could stop me. Back inside, Gabriel pulled me aside. I'm sorry, Seth. If I had known how much he meant to you, I stopped him. He doesn't anymore. But you're still my brother. We'll figure this out. The words surprised both of us. Maybe forgiveness wasn't a single moment, it was choosing to keep showing up. The following months tested everything. Gabriel and Ryan moved forward with wedding plans while I flew between Chicago and New York for work. Mom visited, hugging me tighter than usual. We love you both, she said, tears in her eyes. It's just a lot to process. Dad sent me a text that simply read, "Proud of you, son." Small cracks of light in the darkness. Jordan and I started slow, walks along the lakefront, late-night talks about our fears. He had come out at 17 and lost his family's approval for years. The hardest part isn't the world, he told me one evening on a bench in Lincoln Park. It's believing you deserve your own happiness. With him, I started believing. We never rushed. Every touch felt earned. Gabriel called one night in panic. His big audition had fallen through and Ryan was working late hours. I flew out, spent the weekend helping him rehearse lines and reminding him he was more than the twin who got the guy. We laughed about old childhood pranks, cried about the years we'd spent competing instead of confiding. By the time I left, something had shifted. The mirror no longer felt like a cage. The wedding day arrived on a perfect spring afternoon in a Brooklyn garden. I stood beside Gabriel as his best man, watching Ryan say vows that once might have broken me. Instead, I felt peace. When they kissed, I clapped louder than anyone. Later, Jordan slipped his hand into mine under the table. You okay? He whispered. I was more than okay, I was free. Gabriel found me at the bar. Thank you for being here. Really here. We raised glasses to the future, twins who had finally learned to stand side by side without shadows. Mom and Dad danced for the first time in years. The family that once felt fractured now looked whole in its own imperfect way. Months later, back in Chicago with Jordan, I opened my laptop and typed the last line of my own story. Life wasn't a fairy tale, but it was mine. True or false? Betrayal by the people closest to you can ultimately teach you how to love yourself more deeply than anyone else ever could.